everybody, and welcome to the Kawaii Bookworm Plays with Yarn podcast. I'm Hannah. I'm a Jersey girl living in Liverpool. This is my podcast about knitting and a couple of other yarny fiber crafts that I do, though at the moment it's mostly just knitting. In the down box below, you'll be able to find any links to my Instagram, my Ravelry, the Ravelry group page. That's such a hard word for me to say, Ravelry. I can't say it. To the group page on Ravelry for this podcast, as well as anything else that I talk about in the episode. So today I'm filming on a little bit of a weird day. It is Thursday. I normally do this on either Sunday or Monday, but I was too jet lagged at the beginning of the week to be able to talk coherently to you, and I graduate next week on Monday. So my mom's going to be here, and I'm just going to be too busy to be able to do that. So today it is. Let me see. Any other top of the episode things? No, not really. I don't really do show notes. I should, but I don't. Anyways, I have 2.5 whips, I'd say. I'm saying 2.5 because one of them is not started. I've got most of the things to start it. I just need one more and then I can start. But let's begin with the first one, which is the Pumpkin Spice Mittens by Ellie of Scandier Knits. And it's living in my mystery project bag. And I took this on my flight to Minnesota for Thanksgiving this last week. And I both got a lot of progress and not a lot of progress done. And I say that because while I did have over 20 hours of travel time, I did start traveling to the US at like 3 in the morning. And so on my 7-hour flight to New York, I just slept the whole time. And then I finished the rest of it towards the end of that first flight. Also, sorry if any of the colors are getting a little bit weird. It is very cloudy out and my camera is trying to adjust and not doing a very good job. As you can see, I'm still a little bit jet lagged. Can't remember what I was talking about. So, the mittens, I did do quite a bit, but not as much as I was hoping to do. Let's put it that way. I did finish the right, nope, this is the left. I finished the left mitten, which says I Heart PSL. Sans the thumb. I will do that. I'll do both thumbs last. But I do have one full mitten done. So there's a cheeky little pumpkin there. Stop focusing on my face. There we go. Cheeky little pumpkin and some coffee steam and I Heart, and then the coffee mug with PSL on it and the cuff. And then on the back there's just the cheeky little jack-o'-lantern. Excuse the thread. And then just this really simple pattern, which by now I have absolutely memorized, so I don't have to look at that part of the chart. I just need to look at the front of it to figure out what I'm doing, which is really nice. I like that. I like being able to have something memorized and then just go. And then I have gotten to just past the coffee cup and the coffee bean on the second mitten. I think I've got about 20 rows until the decreases, and then that's only about 13 rows, so that's really simple and quick to do. The decrease rounds just go really fast. I do have this weird spot on this one though. See how it goes like fat out here? It doesn't really do that there. I don't really know what's going on. I think right here, I was doing on my second flight from here to Minnesota. I think I was just really tired and cramped on the plane, so I ended up knitting a lot tighter than I was before. So hopefully that'll block out. Again, I've measured my gauge, and I'm getting about 26 stitches per 4 inches or 10 centimeters. And that's supposed to be the gauge that you use to get a large man's sized mitten, but these fit me really well, and I most certainly do not have large man hands. So I don't know if it's going to block out more, or I don't know how to count or what. But yeah, it's coming along. It does have a lot of room in the fingers, but I mean, that's not too much of a problem. They're mittens. Yeah. Though I am slightly concerned that I'm not going to have enough yarn, because this is starting to dwindle quite quickly. So fingers crossed. I should have enough, but like in comparison to this, like there's so much more of this color left than this that I'm like, ooh, what's going on? But oh well, squishy, squishy. I love this wool. The yarn is Arctic Yarns from the lovely Emily. She gifted these to me at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and I so wish I had more, because it is amazing. It's 100% lamb's wool. The white is just undyed 100% lamb's wool. And it's more of a creamy color. Actually, it matches my bedding really quite well right now. But it's just a creamy color. And then this one is Rava Inca, which translates to Fox's Widow. And it's gorgeous. And I showed it to my dad and said it looks exactly like my pumpkin pie, and he agreed. I was so excited to eat pumpkin pie. I ate so much of it. Pumpkin pie is my absolute favorite dessert, right next to cheesecake. And like, you can't get pumpkin puree here. It's so hard to get pumpkin puree in England, and it's my favorite. But yeah, so Rava Inca and then the undyed lamb's wool. So yeah, almost done. I want to get these done before my mom leaves, which is like Wednesday. So I have less than a week to do that. I think if I power through today, I can do it. But the reasoning is I'm not going home for Christmas. It's kind of deciding between having my mom come out here and me go home for Christmas, / also me moving in January. And since these are part of my Christmas gifts, I do have pretty much everything done except for these and one more, and I don't know when that's gonna happen. I might have to do write a little IOU kind of thing. But I'd like to be able to send them with my mom, just so that they're at home. I don't need to worry about sending them things can get out where they need to be. But I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'll have to discuss with her and figure out how to get everything to where it needs to be. Plus, I also still need to wrap them if I'm gonna do that, because I don't, like, my mom knows about the ones for my siblings, but she doesn't know about the one for her. Like, she knows I've made something, but I've not told her what it is or what it looks like. And so I need to get that wrapped before I can send it to her, or give it to her, so that she doesn't know. So yeah, maybe will be done, maybe won't be, we'll see. Gonna try. But that's pretty much all that I have to say about these. I'm really enjoying this pattern. I do feel at the moment it is a little bit of a slog, but I think that's more because it's an obligation knit more than the pattern. I realized this when I was working on the scarf as well. I hit it like probably 3/4 of the way through, and I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to do this anymore. And but I do at the same time. So it just feels a little bit more of an obligation knit than is what I want to be working on. But at the moment, what I want to be working on is not here. So I don't really have much of a choice anyways. So yeah, going back, quick side note, yes, this is a knit sweater. It's not hand knit. I purchased it. It is at my Harry Potter one, and I'm very glad I purchased it. But yeah, I do get quite a few questions. Actually at work, one of my managers found out that I knit and had knit the Vinter Soul sweater that I've been wearing all the time. And when I walked in wearing this sweater instead of that one, she was like, oh my god, did you knit that too? And I was like, no, unfortunately this isn't one that I've knitted. I bought this before I'd done any kind of cardigans, but also I think I would still not knit it, mostly because I would get the placement of this H so wrong. It would like end up over here, or like over here, or like way down low, and I don't want to mess that up. So yeah. Side note, huge Harry Potter fan. Anyways, the second actual whip that I have is again my socks, and I have made a huge dent in them. Look at that. I did a lot of this knitting. Again, I had to leave at 3 o'clock in the morning, and that was because the trains from Liverpool to Manchester Airport, they either had one arriving at 4:30 in the morning or arriving at like 6:30, and nothing really in between. And I needed something for me to get on time to the airport without too much time, but also with enough time to get through security. I would have needed something in between, so I decided to just go early and not risk being late and missing my flights. And so while I was waiting for the check-in counter to open, and while I was waiting to board my plane, I did a chunk of this. And then the rest of it was just me working on it while I was with family, sitting around talking and all that jazz. These are just vanilla 2 at a time toe-up socks, and I have decided I'm going to teach myself how to do an afterthought heel. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of hiccups. An afterthought heel. So I'm just going until I think it's long enough. I want to try to use up as much of this yarn as I can, because I do have quite a bit of it, and I like to finish things off like that. So I did, in total, I think I've done about 4 inches of knitting on this, because if I was just doing them one at a time, I'd have the same amount there. But yeah, so I think I've done about 4 inches of knitting in total on this, which is awesome. I'm glad these are going much better than the ones that I was working on earlier, because that made, they were just, I was slogging through it and just didn't like it, and I'm enjoying this way more. So I think vanilla socks are just kind of going to be my thing rather than decorated ones, or much easier decorated ones. But anyways, the yarn. So the toes at the moment, and hopefully will be heels and cuffs, is Mothy and the Squid. I can't remember which yarn it is, which colorway it is. It's one of the moths, but it's one of the mini skeins that I bought at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I think I bought like a total of like six or 10, I can't remember. I think it was 6 skeins. And so that's one of them. And then this is Brain Freeze, A Strange Brew from Vine Yarns on her footsie base. And I got this at her second to last trunk show at Do Unit, which is, when I'm back in New Jersey, is my local yarn store there. And where I first met Kristen, and have developed quite a good friendship, I believe. And so that's the socks. And speaking of Kristen, I will talk about my next sort of half whip, I'm saying, which is going to be the Sparkling Cider Hat by Kristen. She was very, very, very generous to gift me this pattern. And I'm still a little like, what? about it. But I have decided on my yarn, what colors I'm using, and I'm still debating on what beads I'm using. I did do a Instagram story well, I don't know what that was. Instagram story poll about it, and I checked it twice, and the first time they were tied, and the second time one was a little bit higher than the other, and then I went to check it again, I think the next day, and it had disappeared. Which is kind of annoying. I wish that they would keep, I don't know how to keep that information. I wish they would keep it so that it's easier. So I don't know what the final outcome of that poll was, but I might do it again just to be like, hey, sorry, I missed the final one. Can we do this again? Or just go with what I remember was the higher one. But I'll start with the yarn first. So the first one, the fingering weight yarn is this one. It's this lovely, lovely tealy greeny blue. Don't know what color you would call this. It's just one of kind. Makes me think of the ocean in Hawaii. Some of the spots in Hawaii are this color in the ocean. It's like an emeraldy blue color, I'm gonna say. I don't know. I'm not the best at deciding colors. And it's not really coming up as nice on the camera here, because the lighting just doesn't want to cooperate. But this is Madeline Tosh hand-dyed yarns, and it's the Twist Light, which is 75% merino wool, 25% nylon, fingering weight at 420 yards. This is my first time working with Madeline Tosh yarns. Well, will be. Haven't started working with it yet, so I'm quite excited about this. I did purchase this at Stephen B Studios in Minnesota. I insisted that I go there and ended up dragging my whole family there, or at least he was all there at the time. My brother hadn't arrived yet, but my grandma, my dad, and 2 of my 3 siblings and I all went to Stephen B, and that was interesting. I was not expecting to be dragging everyone there. I thought it was just going to be either my dad and I or my grandma and I, but everybody wanted to go. slash well, Dad didn't want to go, but we needed to go to the grocery store after, and traffic was a little bit crazy, so I was like, you know what, maybe you should just come with us, because who knows if we'll be able to hit traffic right. So yeah, but we went to Stephen B, and it was fantastic. It's such an amazing store. Like, I walked in and I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. I was completely overwhelmed with everything, and I was extremely jet lagged, so like every time anyone talked to me I was just kind of like, yeah, okay, because I was just I was so tired, and just overwhelmed by how many choices are in there. They've got 2 full stories, and they've got each section broken up into like the indie dyer, commercial yarn kind of brand, that's the word, brand. So I ended up going with Madeline Tosh fingering weight yarn for that one. And then the mohair silk lace that I'm holding together is this really, really lovely gray. I've seen everyone hold similar colors together, and I was just like, I wonder what would happen if I held these 2 together. I think it would make just a really, really lovely hat. So I'm trying to show you what they look like held together, but it's kind of difficult when it's just the 2. We'll see more once it's actually once we actually start knitting it together. But this mohair is Ito Sensai, which is a 60% mohair and 40% silk at 262 yards per ball, which I did after we left the store, and I think like the next day I did have a little bit of a panic because I was like, oh my gosh, did I buy enough mohair? Luckily I think it's only like 240 yards for each of them, so I'm gonna have so much of this left over. I don't know what I'll do with it. I might be able to make a second one if I get like another thing of mohair. But that's the label. It's really hard to show because it's on like a clear thing. Come on. Come on. Nope. Just wants to focus on the background. Okay. It's Ito Sensai, and it's fine yarn from Japan, but the company is German. Don't know why, but okay. I'm excited to work with it. I'm excited. It's really soft. I'm definitely very sticky. It took me a while to find the end of it, but it's so soft, and I can't wait to work it up. It'll be a really nice warm hat. Because I have a hat, and it might, I know I showed it on my podcast. It's my Garthenor hat. Well, it's the hat that I made with Garthenor yarns, with the really chunky, bulky one. And, well, it looks great, and it's worked up fine. And it does keep my head warm if it's not windy. I think the way that I think my gauge was slightly too loose. I think I needed to go down either half or a full millimeter, because the gauge it ends up being very open, and when, sorry, my foot is starting to go dead. When the wind blows, it goes right through it. So when the wind's not blowing, it keeps my head really nice and warm, but when the wind is blowing, my ears freeze, so it's not really doing a very good job. So I'm hoping that with the mohair and a slightly tighter gauge, this will keep my ears much warmer. And now I will talk about the beads. So it's kind of hard to see through, but I've got these 2 colors. One's a bronze, one is a bronze and one is a gray. And these were given to me by a friend. She's Czech, and these are Czech glass. From what I know is these are Czech glass beads. They've come in like just a little baggie filled with random colors, and I've been slowly separating them into these little containers so that I can use them a bit more. And not on the lei, on the beads, please. It doesn't want to. I'm sorry, it just doesn't want to. But I'm still really torn. The poll, when I did look at it, was saying bronze. And so I might do bronze. But I do really like the gray look. Which is why I'm thinking, like, I might end up doing 2 hats. But I'm not sure. If I do 2 hats, I'm going to need more mohair. But that's it. I'm really excited to start on this. I just need to get a 2.75mm needle because I don't have any. I really need to up my needle game. I've got one set of interchangeables and then a handful of like fixed circulars that I use. But I need to start getting more copies. And I know I keep saying that. I think I've said that a couple of times before, but it's something that I really do need to do. And I was looking at some of the interchangeable sets at Stephen B Studios, and Knitter's Pride has come out with kind of their response to the Licca needles, which they've called them ginger, and they're very gorgeous. I like them. But I have mixed feelings about the case. I like the case in that it has a much better feel than the Licca case, but I don't like that it's so big. I wish that it was like the same size as the Licca case, but that's that. That's neither here nor there. So yeah, those 2 are also additions to the hoard. There's nothing else to say about that. So yeah, I think that's it. A little bit to write home about, but not a whole lot. I went back to Minnesota, as you've heard throughout this episode, for Thanksgiving. Visited family, had a feedback meeting about why I wasn't chosen for a position, which helped out a lot. Ate a lot of food and got to see my family. And yeah, I'm just kind of recovering from the jet lag now. I went straight back to work without even being home for a total of 24 hours, so that was a lot of fun. And yeah, graduate on Monday. Woo! I'm excited and also nervous, because I'm always nervous when it comes to graduation stuff. I'm always afraid I'm gonna like trip and fall flat on my face. And last time I went to graduate, wherever you are, and happy knitting. Bye!